So just talking about concealed carry real quick. So to me, I kind of break it down into 4 different systems, if you want to say. You know, first and foremost is obviously, you know, handgun holster selection. So that's going to be key. Depending on, you know, how you opt to carry, you know, a good quality inside the waistband holster. So I think we've kind of figured out those larger plastic hooks probably aren't the best way. If you look at this one here, you can kind of see where, you know, we've got the good metal hooks on the outside, so I know that's not going to break. Then it's got the smaller kind of retention hooks, so I'm getting a double dip where it's coming over the belt and then hooking into. So again, that's kind of, to me, that system 1 is looking at, you know, your holster selection. Could you opt for an outside the waistband? Absolutely you could, depending on what apparel you're wearing. You know, you're just going to kind of make that fit with your lifestyle. Second that kind of pops in is looking at your clothing. So we've already talked about, hey, when I'm looking at my shirt, you know, this one here, like we talked about, I already got the weapons guard in there, so that makes a nice addition. So I'm not having to put an additional t-shirt on. I've got it there. But again, it's trying it out where, you know, I've got the tail a little bit long here. Hey, when I go to pull up, you know, does that snag on my butt basically, and how do I need to adjust or try that? So make sure you guys are going out, checking your clothing out. Same thing when it comes to your pants. What options do your pants offer you? Do they have, you know, pockets in the side potentially for something? Are the pockets deep enough to put items into? And then obviously, you know, looking at a good foot gear, as long as you get something quality on your feet to go. When you're looking at your clothing, so again, I like to wear a ball cap because again, it just keeps, number 1, the sun out of my eyes. And then when we start talking about vehicle stuff, number 1, this helps keep some of that debris when we start shooting glass and stuff out of there. And then when you think about, of course I don't have my eyes on, think about your eye pro. Are we actually transitioning to some type of eye pro all the time? So at nighttime, are we just going, hey, we're not wearing any eyes, or we're actually going to put some clear eyes on? So just food for that when you're kind of looking at your apparel. Kind of the next thing I look at is kind of its own accessory, if you want to say, is the belt. I think your belt is absolutely critical. Some of you guys have something where you're weaving through. Some have spots. Some have some Velcro. To me, I like this belt here. So this is just a core essential belt. And the beauty with this is it just has a little ratchet strap on it. So again, I can sit there and adjust this belt on the fly. Or if I need to, hey, if I'm going to get into a vehicle, do something where I need a little more space, I can just hit the button and it kind of gives me that space in there. So it's super easy and flexible to adjust. And I think it's like 1/4-inch increments on your belt. So you figure on your average leather belt that has holes in there, what are you getting, about a 1-inch increment per? So again, it doesn't give you the best flexibility. Also, if you noticed, I've got my belt off to the side. Why is that?
You don't need more stuff at the front than you already have.
Right, so if I'm looking to run appendix, I've got this thing clear. The other thing I gotta look at too is I'm not worried about where I do have a red dot on there, that thing clicking on the metal, just giving some type of audible noise. So again, just gives me more space at the front if I'm looking to do appendix, and just keeps that off to the side there. So again, I would just look at potentially playing around with your belts, you know, where they're at. So I try sliding off to the side, see if that doesn't give you a little more real estate to the front so you're not battling buckles and everything else. And then kind of the last thing I like to look at is what are my accessories that I'm having. So pretty much, are we running some type of light source? So the one thing I like with this one here, so this is a light from Asp. The cool thing is, if you notice, I press on the button, nothing, right? So now if it's sitting in my pocket, I've got some pressure on there. I'm not worried about it going on. However, if I just sit there and roll the bezel, that's a permanent on. Or if I sit there and roll it the other way, now I've got the momentary. So again, I like it because I don't know of any other light out there that has that rotating head. So again, it's just working through your battle drills where, hey, if I did need a light source and I don't have one on my firearm, again, I can sit there and just rotate and have some type of light source. All right. The other thing to look at is, you know, are you carrying some type of fixed blade? So in this one here, this is just the, it's a version of the Sock P dagger, but it basically has a window brake on there and a seatbelt cut. So again, if you guys were doing a bunch of stuff around vehicles, this gives you an option as a pretty good tool to have with you. Could you use this if you were in a pinch to freaking stab somebody with? Yeah, they wouldn't be too happy with you. Wouldn't be the same as having the dagger, but again, the beauty with this is, if I wanted to, I've got it, you know, somewhere along my appendix line. If I had my firearm, I can still draw this out. I can still come up and, if I had to use this as a tool, I still can use it, but I'm not worried about it falling, dropping, not least, are you guys carrying any type of bags in your vehicles? Like go bags or?
Yeah.
I don't have a go bag.
Yeah.
Unless
Or like a team bag.
Okay.
So when we set up overseas, we'll have ambush bag on the back. So with the 9 bangers, extra mags.
extra medical.
Yeah.
So some things to think about, right? So medical's a prime one. Could I run something like a little fanny pack?
Sure.
You know, to have some med gear in there if I wanted to. I could. Could I have some extra mags in there? I could. I mean, kind of all depends. Then you got to think, you know, on that, am I carrying extra mags? Or just having the one on the go? The thing I like about this bag here, and again, just a Vertex little shoulder bag. The cool thing is, with this thing here, you know, if I did opt to, if I put it on the way. If I did opt to use this, right, I can have whatever extra gear in there. I can pull it up. If for some reason I had an off-body carry, I could still sit there and get into my bag if I needed to. It's got a big pull tab, so boom, I can come right in here. The cool thing is you can see all these different pouches that are set up. But the nice thing is, it gives me a piece of armor. So I can actually get some armor in there. So if you're in a spot where you couldn't necessarily wear overt armor, maybe you're not putting your firearm in there, maybe you're keeping it on your body, but at least if nothing else, I could sit there, whip this thing around, and at least I've got something towards the front. And then in turn, you know, as I open this thing up in the smaller pouch, you know, I could have my tourniquet, other med gear, whatever. And then again, it gives you a place in the front here if you wanted to. Hey, could you put something there if you wanted to? So it just gives you some options. But the thing I like about this is where you do have that armor panel in there, you know, again, you'd have to tweak it to your body, you know, your size, but at least you're getting a good piece of armor there. Soft is better than having nothing. So it's just we're looking at concealed carry. You know, obviously, what's the environment we're going into? What's the potential threats? What do I need? And then what are my items I can sit there and grab? So for example, if I had this sling bag, let's say for example, I had no armor on me, but I've got this sling bag. Hey, if something did go bad, I can at least grab this thing and at least have a little something. Maybe some med gear, you know, a couple extra mags, whatever else you need, but just something to think about. So it's cool having your quote-unquote go bags and stuff like that. But again, how heavy are these things? Some of these go bags can get freaking 50 to 80 pounds easy, right? Start dumping umpteen different mags and bangers and smokes and frags and all kinds of stuff. Is that something I really want to be sitting there trying to bail out to grab? Or would I want something smaller like this just to kind of slap on so I've got some sustainability or not bail out? And again, a lot of it's just going to be driven off of what are you required to wear. So if I'm straight up going civilian clothes, trying to do as low signatures or profiles as I can, maybe, hey, the best thing I've got is that soft armor inside, you know, a bag like that. All right. Questions on kind of any of that stuff? Stay silent, so you know. All right.